Lorelei.
That's the Lorelei.
Oh, Lorelei.
Although Lucy has started coming over on her own now. She just climbs down or flies over, either way, and gets up on me.
Well, it's good that she flies. Good exercise for little Lucy.
Mm. She can fly if she wants
Mm.
to.
She's not a bad little flyer, actually, is she?
And she's
Yeah,
such a sweetie pie.
no, she's a good flyer. She's got all of her flight, primary and secondary feathers and tail feathers. So
Just needs to do some longer trips, I think.
There she is on YouTube.
Lucy.
Lucy, we can see you on YouTube.
We can see the lovely Lucy.
You're alive. I hope everybody else is also alive.
I'm alive, but let's see if any of our chatters are alive. If you're watching, then say hello. Because we love to hear from you.
Do I spot Amanda back there? Or is that Jasmine?
no, that's Jasmine. Mander wouldn't come in today.
Not with
Mm.
Snowball.
No, he would have. He's getting okay with Snowball now,
Okay, well, that's good.
but he just wouldn't do it. He just turned his back on me and started shaking his head up and down, which is I'm not going to come. So if he does it for one more day, I'll have to force him out. And he hates that, but he's okay once he gets in here. But
Mm,
I won't let him go more than 3 days without being in here. So
yeah. He can't just sit and sulk in his bedroom for days on end. It's not healthy.
what are you thinking about in there? I don't trust you, you little minx.
Oh, our first
Think
chatter arrived. It's Falcon Sue. So she says, hi, chatters, mods, Dawn, and hooligans. So welcome, Falcon Sue. Good to see you.
Hi, Falcon Sue. Look at that face. Look at that face.
Mm.
What a face. What a face. What a Cecil face. Hi, Cecil. Hello, Cecil. Lorelai. Hey, baby. Lorelai. Sugar bird.
Oh, she looks pretty sugary. Huh, Sugar?
oh, a sugary bed.
Mm.
Sugar bird.
Looking like perfect candy cotton.
Yeah. Jasmine's back there in her sleeping position, one of them. She was pretty busy talking and everything this morning. Did a little talking and then she did a couple of songs and now she's sleeping.
Worn herself out, has she? We've got a few other chatters. We've got Barzia, and we've got Jam and Jamie, and we've got Jocelyn. So hello, everybody. Lovely to see you.
Hello.
Hello, Snowball. Let's say hello. Hello, Snowball.
He can say hello if he likes to.
He's got a good little talking voice.
Snowball.
A talking voice, a speaking voice.
Mhm.
I've forgotten how to English today.
Calvin Thurston is here. He has announced that he's present. Welcome, Calvin.
Good, we can tick him off on the roll call.
Hello, Calvin. Probably not, Snowball. It's probably not your best idea. Yeah, I'm not sure if that'll work either.
Does he want up next to Sugar, or does he want on your lap with Lorelei and Cecil?
He usually prefers to be on my lap when nobody else is around. He's looking at Lorelei, and then he looked up at Sugar, then he looked back down. So I think he's tentatively thinking about coming here. Sure, that'll work, but
You'll be third wheeling, Snowball.
hi, Snowbird. Hello, big boy. How you doing? How's my Snowball?
What a cute boy. Coming over to say hi to our chatters. That's polite.
Mm.
You're a charming boy.
If we each put on a pink costume, then he'd come and say hello to all of us, and he'd stay the whole time.
Yeah.
What do you think? Pink costumes? What do you think?
Pink.
I wonder if he reacts to pink candy cotton. Well, if you just make a beak on it, probably not.
Well,
Put a
who
fake
knows?
beak and some googly eyes.
Who knows how many varieties of pink there are? What are you doing? Well, we think we only see one or two versions of it, but they see many, many versions of them, don't you? What are you doing?
We know Amanda has all the shades of pink. They go from kind of orange peach to a more rosé peach, all peachy.
Baby powder pink.
Snowball looking what the boys are doing. Cecil and KK. Looks like somebody has a nest there.
Except KK.
Okay, KK, do you think it's a good idea to build a nest for Cecil when Lorelai is there?
What's the problem, Cecil? Hey.
Oh.
Come here.
Uh-oh. A phone attack.
Yeah.
Huh?
I can't get it's one of those technologically difficult days. I can't get the earpieces to work. I'm gonna try putting in the other one. He's become like Bob now. He doesn't like to hear people talking on.
Oh.
Oh dear.
It's really funny when they take each other's place when somebody's not in the room.
Yeah.
Like someone must do Bob's job.
There's not really anyone who's that interested in the phone apart from maybe Cecil.
Cecil, bugger off. I'm gonna put this down for a second. Hey.
Sugar somehow know that the phone people convince Dawn to pet the beak, so she comes over when she hears us talking, but not for us, but she thinks she get beak pets.
What are you doing? Don't get so weird about the phone, silly bird.
So Spirit Meta is here, so hello, welcome.
Hello.
Hello. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you crying about? What are you crying about?
It's so hard being Sugar. You've no idea what it's like. Sitting on a perch all day, preening and eating food and sometimes playing with a toy. It's exhausting.
Sugar.
Honey, honey. Yeah, sweetie pie.
Get your head out of my pocket.
Maybe we should
No, and
warn our viewers that if the stream may disappear, it's about Don's internet connection. And there the
yeah.
picture is gone.
No, the picture died because she's trying to get in my pocket to eat the zipper. I had to zip it up, Lorelai.
But at least at Don's place, there are technical difficulties with the internet. So if something happens, we might come back. We don't know. But let's hope the cellular Wi-Fi works.
Yeah, we're stuck on cellular now, so. But anyway you look at it, we're on some kind of Wi-Fi, either the cellular Wi-Fi or the Wi-Fi broadcast. There's no cable out here of any kind, so.
Nothing to chew on. What a pity.
So we're going to talk about labeling and constructs today, eventually.
If the birds allow you to do so?
It sounds like the label to me. Not last time they didn't let me talk at all, but they were having a good time, so. Weren't you? Hey, Lorelai. Don't eat my clothing, silly. It's not in the budget. Don't eat my clothes.
And she's got Cecil doing it as well.
Training queen?
Yeah. I had a class that I had people flying in from various points of the universe to take this class, but one of the first things you always talk about, and I have a manual I created at the time, but that's where I'm getting what I'm talking about today. But the first thing when I was taking my first class in applied behavior analysis, the first thing we dealt with, and over the phone, because it was a phone class, a lot of work though. It was a hard class. It was a hard class. It wasn't really meant for people, for the average person. You were supposed to at least be a veterinarian or a veterinarian's assistant with a heavy biology and psychology background. But anyway, first thing we dealt with was constructs, labeling. Because we think we know what we're seeing, but we actually don't. And you do not, and by any means, see the actual universe as it is. I mean, we have a limited vision. In fact, only about 30% of what we see do we actually see clearly. That's out of the center of our vision. Everything outside that is a blur, and our brain kind of fills it in and makes us believe we're seeing the whole thing. And we make judgments. And you look at something that's a tree. Well, maybe, do you know what variety of tree is? And then when you get past all of that, what about that individual tree? Because it's not like any other tree. So the way we look at the world affects how we deal with our feathered companions. What are you doing over there? What are you doing? Nice snowball. Hey, don't you start that. No. Don't start it. I know. Lacking the beak. She'll usually do that in this kind of situation when she's going to be lunging at somebody again. And note that I did not use a label as aggressive. She will be lunging. Her behavior will be to fly over and get in his face. So we spent a lot of time on that, and every class we had online, this went on for quite a while, but every class we had online, we're actually on the phone, we weren't going online. The first thing that Dr. Friedman would start with would be testing whether or not we're using labels and constructs within our mind to see things. So we'd be looking at videos of different birds behaving certain ways, and we had to describe them properly. And the second you applied a label, like the bird is being aggressive, next contestant, please, because she'd hit you, she'd beat you down on it. You just said the bird is being aggressive. What's the bird doing? Well, the bird's leaning forward. It has its beak open. There you go. Describe the behavior. So the more you label the behavior of a bird, the more you say, oh, my bird's a happy bird. Doesn't matter whether you're saying happy, sad, mean, all of those things are absolutely useless. They are just human constructs, labels that we put on things. I look at her in this situation when she's around her mate, how she doesn't like the third party coming in. It's situational. So in this particular situation, she tends to clack her beak and then rush at Snowball. Snowball, on the other hand, will sit and look. He'll move his head around and observe and slowly creep forward. That's usually the behavior that I see. I will joke and call him a voyeur. It's just a behavior of his to watch other birds. So when I say watch, again, I'm applying kind of a label to that. He will point his eyes at another bird and he will sit and keep his eyes focused on them. Learn a new way of, whoops, I just dropped my, it's going to be one of those days. I dropped the phone. You have to learn a new way of talking. And to pass her class, you better learn it too, because if you're still labeling and making constructs at the end of the class, you're not going to pass. So. Preening behavior, what are you doing down there? Huh? What are you doing down there? Lorelei? Okay, now she's doing something else. So there's that video. I'll mention it again. I don't know. I think maybe 1 in 100 actually goes and watches the 2-minute video on YouTube. But the whodunit video that we have listed in our show notes shows how you do not see what you think you see. Anyone watching that video who comes out of it saying, I see the world as it actually is, has an IQ of 10. Because I know I didn't see it when I watched that video. I missed almost everything that was going on. So, but I have seen the way that the media does this to make you think that a situation is worse than it is. I was in my youth, back in the Cretaceous period. Hi, Snowball. I was doing a protest at UC San Diego where they were doing experiments on monkeys that were pretty grotesque. I won't describe what they were doing, but what the people with the cameras did is they came in really close and they caught, there were about 100 of us there, and they made it look more like it was 1,000 people. I watched it. It looked like a huge protest, and it was only 100 people. So, but we do the same thing. We do the same thing. We'll say, oh, my bird is unhappy. Oh, there's a label for you. Could be a lot of things going on that in your mind that are late. There he goes. He's creeping up again. This is a behavior I've seen over and over again. And then, of course, Lorelei doesn't like it when he creeps up. Lorelei? Yes, I was sitting here ready, even though I'm talking, sitting here ready for her to do that. Be nice to him. He's not going to do anything to you.
Hmm.
Here's another one of those words. Nice. It's a label. It doesn't mean anything. Although they see that word as something to them. Anyway, when I say that word, it is in a time when they tend to be showing some sort of aggression, as in lunging or swiftly running towards another bird with their beak open, that kind of thing. So you want to pass the class, you have to learn to talk like that. But you have to, more than that, you need to start to observe things for the actual behavior and not what your brain is making it. When Jasmine back there, who's sleeping, when she gets her feathers out and she starts dancing around and she's making that repetitive sound, it's quite similar. She picked it up from Peaches, I believe, but we all think that. Those that know her. When she's doing that, like, we will say a lot of things about her, but basically what she's doing, if you look at it biologically, is a display. And when they're displaying, they're trying to get attention. That's what we believe, but it is display behavior. That's the feathers go out, the bird prances around, and it vocalizes. That's what we call display. But my anthropology teacher used this example before, but I'm going to use it again. My anthropology teacher, one day in the beginning of the class, I should say professor, the professor reaches in his pocket and he pulls out a set of keys and he's dangling and he goes, "What are these?" And we all know he's shooting for something, so we don't know what to say. And he said, "We call them keys." He said, "But 10,000 years from now, when the United States is gone and the whole world has changed and nobody has locks on their doors, and they find these in the ground, they dig them up at a site, they're probably going to call them a ceremonial object. We must have used them in some kind of ritual, right? Religious ritual."
That's always when I watch these kind of documentaries where they bury out something which from the ancient times, like 3,000 years ago here in Germany. Oh, what's that thing? It has no use for it. Must be
Yeah.
ceremonial.
It's like, we don't know what it is. Let's say it's a ceremonial object.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good for what we don't know what it was. So we see a lot of things in the world around us, and we think we know what we're seeing. We're mammals. We see a behavior. We try to fit it into our worldview, something that's created inside of our mind. We don't even understand how consciousness works, so we don't know how we make these images of what's going on outside. But you see radical. You can look at radical behaviors. Whatever the Unabomber was thinking when he did what he did, he saw a different world than we see, right? And then you look at someone like Gandhi, and he saw a world quite different than what we see. And all of our experiences during the day are somewhere between those two, okay? The best and the worst, but at no time do we actually see the world for what it is. So well, we have to look when we're working with birds, we have to look at the actual behavior. You'll be in a work situation and you'll say, "Oh, this coworker of mine, she's a real pain in the rear. She just started working here and she's always grumpy and she's constantly making complaints and they go on and on." And then later on you find out, oh yeah, well, she just started working here after her son died and her husband left her. And you start adding all these different things into the equation, and then you start to see that person a little differently. But again, you're going from one set of constructs to another. Oh, that poor person, from oh, what a terrible person, to oh, that poor person. But again, it's just constructs. You're actually just looking at behavior. So, and it's harder with these guys because they don't, I'm sure they do think, but they don't think like us. And since they were raised in incubators, they don't think like birds in the wild. They're somewhere in between. Dr. Friedman called them functionally autistic. And if you've ever seen the movie Rain Man, you kind of get an idea what I'm talking about. It's an older movie, but it's good to watch because when you watch it, you'll see how these guys are functioning in some ways. They have certain expectations of how the day is going to go. Okay, looking at that, is that an aggressive stance? Or yeah, see, it was. But actually, I don't think Cecil was trying to be aggressive. I think he was just getting close, but I think perhaps Snowball understands better than I do. You okay, Snowball? You all right, Cecil? You guys, Lorelai, calm down.
I bet it's
Calming
jealousy
words.
over a woman.
Hmm?
It's jealousy over a woman. Or is that a label?
That's definitely that's a construct. That's more than a label, it's a construct.
Oh
Right.
no. Oh
Did
no,
we
Don's
lose?
gone.
Yeah.
We've lost Don. Oh god, it's up to us now. We have to entertain the troops until Don can come back.
Mm.
If anyone has any questions that they want to ask, then you can start typing them and we will save them up and ask Don when he gets back. But in the meantime, what shall we talk about?
I think Dawn is back. Ding
Ah,
dong.
ding dong.
Yeah, we're on cellular right now, so that's to be expected.
Yep, we warned the viewers, so I think they survived
Yeah.
in the meantime.
Have we
I'm surprised.
spotlighted Don again? Does someone know how to do that?
I tried to do. I think he already did himself.
No, I didn't, but
Now I
there you
did.
go. I'm surprised it's working as well as it is. We got through a half hour before it blipped out. You know how these cell companies are. They'll sell you, oh yeah, you have unlimited, minutes, but as soon as you start using a lot of them, they start to drop you off to hope that you quit.
Hmm. Yeah, that's always a pity when the technique they want to sell you doesn't work.
Well, it's planned that way too. I mean, they
Do
plan to
you
cut
think
you
so?
off. Oh yeah, sure. A good example is if you're watching something on one of Jeff Bezos's platforms, like his Prime movies or whatever, if you leave it to play like a sequence, which I'll do for Rome sometimes, I'll put something on that's going to have a sequence of videos. It will come on and it will be looking to see if you're still there, and if you're not, it will stop so that they can
Mm.
save money. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's pure capitalism. You've paid for the service. It's supposed to be continuous, but they will turn it off to save money if they think you're not watching. Stop that now. There
It
you
sounds
go.
like
That's
a
a good.
great idea for I'm Still There app, which you could apply.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
know it's hard to. Go ahead.
you'd think that they would that they wouldn't want to do that because then it increases their viewing numbers. So it makes them
Well,
seem
see,
more popular.
what they're doing is checking to see if you're still there so that they can save money. If you've walked away from the TV and you've been gone for a little while, it shuts off and then you come back and turn it back on. Nobody thinks about it because most people don't think like a capitalist. I mean, let's face it, there aren't very many true capitalists in the world. Um, we're talking like 1/10 of 1% of the population of the entire earth, and they own something like uh, 3/4 or more of the actual wealth of the world. So yeah, you don't tend to think like a capitalist, but they'll try to save a penny every way they can.
Hmm. Let's label a bird. Who is the most capitalist in the flock?
I don't think any of them are.
Who has the most toys? Or who hoards the most toys?
I would say Pippa is the most capitalist because she likes Apple products and they're quite
Yep.
capitalist.
She definitely has a
Maybe.
liking for expensive stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something too. When people will apply. I know I used to do it. Apply human emotions to these guys, and sometimes I'll even talk like I'm applying that. No, Lorelai. Okay, that's enough. It's the voice, actually, the way I sound, and not the words I use. In this case, he just chased Snowball off. You okay, Snowball? You all right? Yeah, he didn't try to hurt him. He just chased him off. You
Snowball's
gonna
gonna
play
play
with?
with his frisbee. The frisbee is never mean to him and never chases him.
Sometimes they come flying at him though, but usually after I've thrown them.
Yeah.
Something he enjoys, right, Snowball? Now there's a word too. Do birds enjoy anything? We can't really use these human words with them. Obviously, they play. They pick up toys. They play with them. This one makes his own toys. Um, but to use human words like enjoy, um, you say that bird doesn't like me. Now that's again, it doesn't work in their world. It doesn't. I'm not sure it works in our world. The word like, whether they like something. Um, I was looking for a list. I have a list of about 200 words. Some of them would amaze you because you don't think of them as constructs or labels, but they are. And you have to when I first looked at that list that Dr. Friedman gave me, I was shocked at some of the words. Like, why would that be? Shy as an example. My bird is shy. No, you can't use that label. What are you really saying? When someone new comes up, the bird does not approach them? Well, okay, the bird goes to the back of the cage, or the bird will go to the side of the perch away from the new person. And someone would use the word shy. Well, it could be fear, more likely fear than shyness. Shy is something that humans do, not necessarily the birds do. Um, so there were,
So they are
I
more
couldn't find
introvert.
it.
Just
Huh?
joking. I
What's
said
that?
so they are not shy, but rather introverts. I was just joking.
I
Yeah.
don't think these guys are introverts. So
No.
really,
No.
we should say instead of saying that Snowball likes playing frisbee, we should say Snowball is motivated to manipulate the frisbees or something.
Yeah, yeah. Or you can get rid of the word motivation and say, uh, Snowball manipulates frisbees. Now
Yeah.
you've taken it down to just the behavior. But when you add something like is motivated, um, we
What
don't
about
know what. Go ahead.
what about timing? Can we say Snowball manipulates frisbees often, or Snowball
Yeah.
manipulates frisbees whenever they are offered?
Yes. Again, you're describing behavior, and that's the hardest part. Now, a simple illustration of why that's important is okay. A golf ball and a basketball. If you think a basketball is a golf ball, you're going to have a problem. When you go to swing that club, that basketball is not going to go very far. And I mean, it's a silly illustration, but that's what we do. We label something incorrectly because we actually can't know it or don't know it, and then we deal with a situation in a way that doesn't work. I got one developing right here. I'm trying to keep KK from being afraid of Lorelai, but Lorelai is such a minx. She just has to He has to cause problems at times. Now there we go. Label
Yep.
minks.
Label,
She has
label.
she
Causing
has to cause
problems.
problems.
You don't know that she's trying to cause problems. She probably thinks
Nope.
she's fixing a problem in her world.
Exactly. There you go. Well thought out. So I use these labels when I'm talking about them because in public in general, because it's endearing to people to hear it, and it helps them remember certain behavior patterns. But when you're actually working to understand what's going on, you have to drop those. You can't use them. Lorelei she's active, and she'll be sitting somewhere, and then just all looks to me like all of a sudden she does something. Well, she breaks out of one behavior and she goes into another. And sometimes that's okay, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes she'll go flying at another bird. I've never seen her actually try to hurt another bird. I don't give her enough time to really do any damage anyway. Um, she has her behaviors are often fast. I mean, she'll just seem to instantly change her behavior. She'll go from one behavior to another in a flash. You have to keep an eye on her. And then after she's done it, she'll just sit calmly with me. I don't do anything. Now I'm saying sit calmly. Well, that's not a good description. I would not get a passing grade in the class. I would have to say she would sit with her feathers pulled around her face, her feathers fluffed over her lower beak, and her eyes looking, her eyes her eyes half closed, sitting relatively motionless, with her feathers pulled close to her body. Oh,
Did you
yeah, we know
inhale
that.
a feather, Don?
No, unfortunately we haven't had good air quality. So about every 3 or 4 days, I get uh, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours of air through here with my big fans. So no matter how much dust you try to take out, I'm getting a lot of dust right now.
Oh
I
dear.
can't blow the dust out of the house. I got the big filters going all the time, but there's still too much dust, so I'm doing a lot of coughing. We've had 115 degrees, that's 45 uh, Celsius, and
Wow.
what now? 5 days now, and we got another day of it. We might get down to 40 within another week, maybe. They can't predict that far. But usually when that happens, we have good air quality in the morning, and we don't. So I look at the air quality, and I can't open the windows because I'd be bringing in more dirt in the air than dust. So what are you doing? Now there's a behavior. How would you describe that?
Well, I
You
was gonna say
vocalize it.
she's begging, but that's not right.
Yep. She vocalizes, and the consequence of that vocalizing is beak petting. And if you stop the beak petting, she goes longer now because she knows it, not because she knows anything, but because I will generally rest my arm. She'll start looking at my arm like she's doing now. She's looking down where my arm is. Now that's what she should say. She's looking down where my arm is. Over time, she has because I can't keep my arm up forever, and she won't climb on my shoulder, except in rare circumstances. Over time, she has adapted to the fact that I am not going to have my arm up there all the time. Okay, guys, what's this all about?
That's cute.
What is this all about?
Oh, the couple is cornering you again.
That looks adorable.
Mm. Maybe they try to observe you and not putting labels on you.
The human is sitting in the chair. The human is talking while holding the rectangular object. The human is pointing his eyes in the direction of birds. The human is raising his hand to shake his beak and using his fingers to manipulate the beak. How was that?
Well,
That was
you
great.
would definitely be passing her class, at least in that one aspect, and that she considered that the most important thing you could learn, because until you can break away from applying labels to these guys, you're not going to be able to work with them efficiently. Oh, some people can, you know, there's a thing called dumb luck. You know, there's the person who walks down the street and finds $100 bill, right? I mean, that kind of dumb luck is there. But with these guys, if you don't actually start to observe their behavior as behavior and start to work with that behavior instead of your constructs, you're going to end up with problems. One thing's for sure, you won't be able to be in a room with 7 or 8 cockatoos and survive it where the birds don't get hurt and you don't get in trouble. So,
Yep. The basic labeling now would be Sugar is annoyed because somebody entered her perch.
now she's approaching Snowball with her head down in a position you usually see when preening is being requested, and she's whining. So I call it whining, but she's vocalizing.
And Snowball is preening.
He is unfortunately a barber, so you have to be. She'll eventually pull away from him because he'll pull too hard. But he does try to preen her. I mean, he'll preen her a little bit, and then he'll pull a feather, and she'll walk away.
Sitting next to the pink bird. Fancy Snowball.
So when she presents her head to him, he will generally preen her.
Mm.
It looks like
Never seems
he hopes she'll preen him back, but she isn't going
Maybe that's
to.
his end goal, being preened by a pink bird.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, expecting him to preen her to preen him back would be like expecting a politician to tell the truth.
Oh, Shuggy.
I guess we can't know that that's what he expects. We can say he is sitting and looking at her and not preening while she holds her head in a preening position.
Yeah,
It's
frequently
like
he will.
It's a preening standoff.
Well, frequently he will over preen her, and I will tell him no. So since I started doing that, he has resisted preening her. So he'll preen a little bit and then stop, because in the past he would preen a little bit, pull a feather, and I would tell him to stop. So it's possible that that's a learned behavior. These guys are always learning too. There's the research we have on them, and up until if they live to be 80 years old, they still keep learning. Too bad that humans aren't like that, but we have a definite deceleration for most of us as we get older. So once you bridge that 40 mark, probably because according to our DNA, we're not needed anymore. If you're not going to produce progeny, what good are you? From a strictly selfish gene attitude. No, oh, now that you don't have a bird, you want me back? Hmm? Okay. Now this time
But
she didn't get
Rosalind
over free.
put an example in chat. She says, like Cinnamon screaming when leave his side.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Like Cinnamon screaming when leave his side. So I think that is a better description for when he wants to have me back, which is basically the interpretation or so.
Right, and it can be wrong. I mean, those kind of interpretations, because they're constructs, they can be wrong. Sometimes a good example is the birds that does something like bite outside the cage, and then people put them right back in the cage. What if that's what they want?
Mm-hmm. And actually, it's pretty precise. It's not like when I leave the door, but when I leave his side. So as soon he starts, as soon as he cannot see her anymore.
Yeah, you would just describe that as Cinnamon vocalizes when I leave him, when I leave his immediate area. So, and then you would also want to say if that was in a particular room that happened, a particular time of day, you want to note all that stuff because in some cases they don't do it at a certain time. Bob only says good morning in the morning. That's the only time he says it, unless late at night, if I'm busy giving medicine or something, and he's trying to get my attention, he'll go through the whole repertoire of everything that he can say, and then occasionally he will throw it in. But in the morning, he says good morning, but he just doesn't. He doesn't do that in the middle of the day, and like at night, I say if he's doing his repertoire, just kind of like when you hear an African grey go through their whole sequence, which quite often they will do, of all the different things they can say. I never respond to him at night when he does it because I obviously don't want him saying it at night. So it's contextual. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? So everybody needs to learn to start talking like Eleanor, describing the actual behavior and then checking yourself. Did I add an emotion to that? Did I add something to what I saw that was a construct? All right. My bird loves me. I don't even think humans know what that word means, so I would never use it in the context of a bird. And some places where you can really get into trouble is saying, well, my bird is sad. Well, maybe the bird is sick. And you've applied sad because the bird doesn't, the feathers don't look so good. The way they're holding their feathers, they're not paying attention to you. This is where you can really make a mistake that can be costly. So, but in behavior training, what are you doing? Come here. Come here. Doing a little redirect here because he knows I'm using the phone and he's assuming this is in my head, my construct, when I'm doing these videos now because he's actually talked to people on this phone, he tends to get nippy at me. So what it really comes down to is when the phone is out and I'm pointing it like this, he will tend to try to nip at me. He doesn't actually bite me, but he nips at me. It's not a normal behavior. It's not something he does when this phone isn't being used this way. But after having done a couple of chats where he actually saw people, he started striking at the phone. So you are not Peaches, are you? Peaches like to talk on the phone. You don't actually like to do that.
Well, Peaches will
Use the
come
word
running
like.
if you're on the phone.
Yep. Use a whole bunch of
running at Peach's speed.
I used a whole bunch of constructs in that, which really comes down to is when the phone is being used. Oh, I just got splatted here. When the phone is being used in a video where I'm pointing it around, Cecil will tend to nip. When he's close to me, especially on this side, or if he gets over on this side next to me, he will be nippy. Right? So practice that. It's a great thing to practice. Practice trying to see the actual behavior and describing it. A bird is not being aggressive. It is leaning forward with its beak open, eyes oval, and the feathers on the back of the head up. There you go. You got a picture that says it all. What are you doing?
And if you're ever waiting at a train station or something, you can practice on humans. You can watch them and try to describe their behavior.
That's a good one too. That's a great way to practice it, because we tend to immediately apply certain constructs to the way people are behaving. Someone's standing by a bus or a train, or and they're tapping their feet and they're looking around. You know, that person is that person is impatient. Maybe they have to go to the bathroom. Maybe they're not impatient at all. With my orthopedic issue that I've had since I was a kid, my feet actually, that's natural for me to be able to put my feet like that. Um, my mother, I couldn't stand still. I would always be moving around. So my mom would say, "Do you have to go?" Again, just observing a behavior in the past, seeing children like that, she assumed that I needed to do something I didn't need to do. So yeah, one thing you can do to prove this to yourself is try to find, when you're looking at a person, try to make constructs of what they might be doing. Just run as many constructs as you can, and then just look at the behavior for what it is. It'll make a big difference. I don't think Dr. Friedman would have made it such an important issue. And since we had to describe behavior of birds in every one of our talks online, there were only 20 people in our class. Everybody had to do it. So if you were still using constructs, you could always tell the people who had trouble with it, because there'd be a big pause before they like, that bird has walked to the end of the perch. It is looking away. It has turned its body away from the perch as much as it can. Describing a bird that's about ready, if it can fly, to fly off the perch. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's going to happen. So we can get into assumptions there too. Assumptions really do make working with these guys terribly difficult. There's that Lorelei, eyes closing, just sitting in her favorite.
Scene.
She likes that roosting spot on my shoulder.
She looks cozy.
You're getting a little pushy up there, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Vocalizing. Mm-hmm. like to bring up that we do have a bunch of great merch that Amy created. So you might go out there, and I think Amy probably has the link for that. You can get the link from our link tree. Shirts and greeting cards and you name it, all kinds of fun stuff. Pillows.
So
Yep.
I put the links in for Linktree. There you can find
Sugar
it all,
mugs.
basically.
Sugar mugs. Sugar mugs.
Oh, there's a sugar mug.
That's not a mug, that's my face.
Yep, buy the merch and wear
I
it
also
around in public. That's good behavior. We like that behavior.
We still need more people on Patreon and more members. Help us make these monthly payments here.
Yep. It's not cheap looking after 12 birdies,
Nope.
especially ones as special as these.
and Shuggy, are you special? Candy cotton special.
I think
I
she's
have a
special.
Did I don't remember if I put that picture of the two-headed cockatoo up on our YouTube, our Patreon. I'll have to look. I got a unique picture of Cecil and Lorelai. I only got one of them too. I was lucky to snap it. Unfortunately, the phone makes a clicking sound when you take a picture, and they immediately separated. But it looked like one bird with two heads. It's perfect. These two, didn't it? Didn't it look like one bird with two heads? All I know, as soon as I heard the click sound, they were out of there.
I thought, oh yuck, someone is watching us. What a dirty voyeur. And it wasn't Snowball.
Well, folks, it's that time again. So thanks for being here. I did live through yesterday. I wasn't sure I was going to. I had to go get water. I couldn't get out of here till 10. And it was 106 degrees when I got there. The owner of the water company was Patriot Ice. I looked at him. There's a huge crowd of people there. And I looked at him. I said, "Are we having a busy day?" And he just put his eyes down like, yeah, he needs that for his income, but he hadn't stopped since he opened. He's just been a constant line of people. So, and I went there to pick up 16 5-gallon bottles of water. We're going through a lot of water right now too because the humidifier will go on days like this where there's no humidity outside. I looked at the dew point this morning. It was -6.
What? How can it be minus?
I don't know, but that's what it said in my weather app. It said -6.
That's amazing.
I know. I looked at it, and I mean, you walk outside, and there's no humidity. It's hot, but you don't sweat. Well, I mean, you don't feel the sweat. It comes right off you so quick you don't know you're sweating. But you're gonna say goodbye to
Gosh.
everybody? Oh, he's gonna beat me up with a toy now, so I guess that's it. Huh? You're gonna beat me up? Okay. I have the the ear in the other ear this time.
Having a
Well,
toy
thanks guys for
saying
being here.
bye.
Thanks Amy and Eleanor for your assistance, and we'll see you
And
next time.
thank you, Don, for the stream.
My pleasure.